now. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, or good morning if you happen to be the sunny part of Florida, which these three guests, these three friends of mine are. They're in the Treasure Coast, which is, for those of you who don't know, is about halfway up on the Atlantic side in Florida. And I'm delighted that we've got Zack from Florida Oceanographic. We've got Ryan, who's going to tell us all about the Gulf, and we've got the big boss. We've got Nerissa, who's going to tell us all about the area. So, Nerissa, let me start with you. Treasure Coast. Have you ever found any treasure?
I have not found treasure, but a couple of years ago up in Indian River County, they pulled up 1.7 million in treasure, and they're still locating it typically after storms along the beaches in the Treasure Coast.
And the Treasure Coast, the name of it stems from the fact that some treasure ships, some Spanish galleons, laboured on the coast many years ago. Is that right?
The 1715 fleet, was on its way back to Spain loaded with treasure and unfortunately got hit by a storm and sunk. So that's where we get the name of the Treasure Coast, because you can literally find treasure along our coast, which makes up three counties: Indian River County, St. Lucie County, and then I'm here down in Martin County.
Okay, cool. Now, when you're trying to market the area, when you're talking to consumers or to travel agents or whatever, what are the pearls of the, if I'm going to use jewellery as my adjectives here, of my synonyms to describe your area, what are the jewels in your area?
Well, it's really an uncrowded hidden gem. So a lot of people don't know about the area here in Florida, the Treasure Coast area, but along the entire coast, we have over 220 acres of parks and conservation land. In two of the counties, in Martin County and Indian River County, there's a 4-story height restriction. So a lot of low density where you can just get out and explore. I'm sure Zack will talk about it, but we have some really amazing sea turtle nesting that takes place along our coast. And so I would say one of the huge treasures or pearls is the fact you can really get out and explore Florida and see what that old Florida feeling is like without being necessarily as crowded as some of our neighbors.
Okay, good. Zack, you're looking very comfy by the water in your T-shirt, shades on, chilling out. I like it. Now, I have been to your area. I know what a fantastic array of sea life you get there with the iguanas and the dolphins, and being able to actually almost touch dolphins in the rivers. But what do you do? Florida Oceanographic sounds a little bit more technical than just getting tourists to go swim with dolphins.
So Florida Oceanographic Society is a nonprofit nature center that's open to the public. We have 57 acres here on South Hutchinson Island in the Treasure Coast. And we try to give people an educational experience when they visit. A lot of people come to our facility thinking it's going to be all fun and games, but in reality, we put a lot of effort into trying to make fun education, or funjucation as we call it. We really hope that our typical visitor comes in with maybe not a whole lot of knowledge about Florida's wildlife and Florida's ecosystems. And by the time they leave, not only do they have newfound knowledge, but they have newfound passion for hopefully trying to help some of these precious animals and ecosystems that we care for. We offer guests the opportunity to interact with animals. We have a stingray feeding program where during your visit you can feed a stingray. We have some other touch tanks where guests can interact with animals and touch them and learn about them in a very carefully scripted manner so that it comes off as educational, not just fun. And most importantly, behind us here, we have our centerpiece, a 750,000 gallon outdoor aquarium, the Gamefish Lagoon Aquarium. In this aquarium, we have dozens of different local fish species, and we are home to 4 permanently disabled sea turtles. We're a facility that gives these turtles a lifetime of care because they're no longer able to survive out in the wild. We use all of our animals as conservation ambassadors. They help us teach our guests about the oceans and really try to inspire them to make a difference themselves after they leave our facility. Beyond what we do for the general public, we also run an active research and restoration program. Our scientists are working to try to clean up our local waterways, to try to make sure the real treasure of the Treasure Coast remains our beautiful beaches and watery ecosystems.
And the quality of the water seems fairly impressive in your part of the world, sufficient almost to support pearl divers, as I'm using the treasure vernacular here.
We have healthy populations of oysters, but unfortunately, our type of oyster is not going to make you a pretty pearl. But they're still really important. They filter our water and they provide a home for a lot of wildlife.
Excellent. Now, Ryan, you look after a lot of the sporting facilities in the area. You're a man from the area. Tell us about the diamonds in the rough in Treasure Coast.
So I represent the Treasure Coast Sports Commission, now known as Play Treasure Coast. We're the sports tourism marketing organization for the Treasure Coast region. Martin County here with Nerissa, St. Lucie County in the middle, and then Indian River, our neighbors all the way up to the north. A lot of variety of sports are hosted here in our year-round ideal climate in the Sunshine State, but more golf in particular, what we're speaking here, and the rough, the pearls in the rough as you touch on. Golfers of all levels have really flocked to Florida for the experience for a long time. Florida has some of the best golf courses throughout America. But while the pandemic still looms and more travelers are opting for less crowded escapes, we need to explore or come discover Martin County, as Nerissa mentioned, is really a less dense, less populated, great way to experience the old Florida feel.
Excellent. So not only golf, but lots of other things as well that one can experience?
Lots of other things, but on the golf note, Martin County, Florida is known as a golfer's dream destination-wise, with over 35 world-class courses, all within close proximity. 75 plus PGA professionals claim residency here in Martin County, and really some of the top courses in the country reside here in Martin County.
And any baseball diamonds? See, I got to get another reference in there.
Plenty of baseball diamonds, and actually St. Lucie County here on the Treasure Coast is the spring training home to the New York Mets and the single A home to the St. Lucie Mets. So we have a spring training component that's here for roughly 6 weeks, 8 weeks out of the year, and then the remaining 6 months out of the year we're home to a single A baseball club here with the Mets.
So the Mets will be coming to the end of their spring training now in your area, will they?
They're actually already broke. They're in first place in the NL East. They're already back playing up at Citi Field, but we were able to have a safe and successful spring training with some seating limitations and capacity limitations, but was safe and was able to execute spring training formats.
Good. First game I ever saw, Shea Stadium, New York Mets. Go Mets.
Go Mets.
That's probably alienated me from 95% of the USA population now, but never mind. Zack, if I can come back to you, if I was to have 2 hours spare and I was in your neck of the woods, what would you have me do?
Well, obviously, I'd love you to come out here to the Coastal Center and check out our story. We provide a one-stop visit that'll allow you to see all the different aspects of the Treasure Coast's wildlife. So we talk about the different waterways that flow through our area. So without actually having to get out onto a kayak or a paddleboard, you can still learn about these waterways here at the Florida Oceanographic Coastal Center. Aside from visiting our facility, I would highly suggest you check out some of our on-water opportunities. There are a number of tour boat operators where you can go out in the water to learn about manatees and dolphins. You can rent a kayak or a paddleboard and explore the water on your own. And then one of my favorite things to do is snorkeling and scuba diving. In the summer months, our local waters get so clear that you can snorkel right off the beach and see beautiful fish life, particularly on our world famous Bathtub Reef beach. This is a local reef that you can swim out to from shore. And instead of being made by corals, like you'd think of on a typical reef, our local reef is made by little tiny worms. Millions of these worms build the reef itself. For those of you who don't have the chance to snorkel on Bathtub Reef, we have a brand new building here on our property, the Ocean Eco Center, scheduled to open later this spring or early summer. And we have recreated an enormous aquarium that perfectly mimics our local reefs. So you get an immersive experience here at the Coastal Center. And then if you really want to take some time to get your mask and snorkel on, you can go right across the street and see some of these ecosystems firsthand.
Fantastic. And same for you, Ryan. If I had a couple of hours, would you take me out on the golf course, or would you? How would we spend our couple of hours?
We would start at the golf course, but knowing you, I think we would end at the pub. And you know, as we touched on, not only over 35 world-class courses, some of the best within the country. I think we would try to get you on, you know, Seminole or the Medalist, Loblolly. Maybe we can call on a friend to favor to Michael Jordan and get on his playground, Grove 23. There's a lot of incredible here on the Treasure Coast.
Fantastic. And finally, Nerissa, I know that there's a variety of accommodation in the area that suit all pockets and tastes. But I give you the final answer, or the final question, and you give me the answer. I have 2 hours to spare on the Treasure Coast. What would you have me do?
Well, we didn't talk about history at all, so I'd probably take you to the House of Refuge. It's the last remaining House of Refuge in all of Florida. They were set up along the East Coast as life-saving stations because of the storms. And we have the last remaining one here in Martin County, and it's really a unique part of history. I'd also take you over to the Elliot Museum, which is right across from FOS, so we can fill all of this in together, and you can learn about all of the antique cars. They have a massive collection of cars, as well as it's just a unique, eclectic museum. And then I'd take you to eat on Sailfish Sands, which is our newest cafe, which is on Stuart Beach. So I take you to eat right on the beach, and that opens this summer. So that'll be really exciting. It's a great restaurant and bar on the beach. So that's what I would do for 2 hours. Yeah.
It sounds awful, I must admit. Yeah, I'd much rather stay in the cold and damp UK. However, we must move on. Zack, thank you very much for sparing the time. Put some sunblock on if you're going to be staying out there. Ryan, thanks. I look forward to having some experiences on the fairways with you. And Nerissa, as always, pleasure to see you, and thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having us.